now go over to agenda point 3. In preparation for the IPCO that will be hosted by St. Martin in January 2016, please take note of the following. The other countries had accepted the proposal to hold a video conference in preparation of the IPCO. This video conference will take place today, December 1st, at 12:15 p.m. All members of the CCARE have received the draft agenda for this video conference. Are there any questions or remarks pertaining to this agenda? MP Leona Marlin had a question. MP Leona Marlin, can you please rephrase your question?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, my question is in relation to the law on de Rijkswet van het Nederlanderschap and the fact that it's going to be discussed now. One of the things that I think that we should pay keen attention to, and it's something that I was going to bring a motion to, is in Article 12 of the Burgerlijke Wetboek, Chapter 12, Burgerlijke Wetboek 1, Chapter 12, there is the option, the law states that there should be a commission in place. And this commission handles difficult cases as it relates to nationality and different matters that burgerzaken handles. And one of the things that can be that can help St. Martin in cases where there are difficult cases is to have that commission, that committee established, because it's already in the law, but it's not established. Now, when when things are coming from the Netherlands and we have to, some say, rubber stamp it or not even question certain things, when we have difficult cases, it would be advisable for us to have such a committee. It is something that has been spoken about many times in the PIVA platform with Aruba and Curacao, and even at that time before the Best Islands, but it's not in place. But it is definitely something that is beneficial for us. It's in the law, but it's not established. And I'm looking more specifically as it relates to difficulties with nationality cases. For example, a child is born in from someone that's born in a parent is born in St. Kitts. The child is born here in St. Martin. The mother is not Dutch, but the child, there's a problem as it relates to St. Martin. Says, okay, you're a petition. And let's say there's a case where the child has to go to St. Kitts, and St. Kitts says no. There's a conflict. There's a conflict with the law. There's other cases that we brought up where, and I know that has been resolved by now, where those persons who have lost their nationality through administrative errors, it has taken a very long process, but an answer has been sought. The Minister of Justice at the time have brought, and that's one of the questions I was asking you all before, what is the information on it? I know of the solution, but it never came to Parliament. But the point is, Mr. Chairman, is that committee, according to law, will handle difficult cases as it relates to nationality, things from burgerzaken and things from the burgerlijke stand that are related to nationality. And it will help us because we talk about Rijkswet van het Nederlanderschap, but there are so many gray areas that some citizens fall into, and there's no place to complain before those individuals have to go to court. It is something that both the civil registries of Curacao and Bonaire, all of the islands, are aware of, but the initiative to have it actually implemented, it has not been taken. So therefore, I would like to, as we're discussing Rijkswet van het Nederlanderschap and changes that are coming, perhaps that we should mention such, because it is the intention of bringing a motion to Parliament and then copying it once it's approved and has the support, copying it to the rest of the island. So it's just from that standpoint, I'm looking at it, and if we can, Mr. Chairman, get the results that I spoke about where it comes to when persons lose their nationality based on administrative errors, if we can get the results of such so that we can present it as well to the rest of the islands in that tripartite meeting, because we discussed it, but we never said, okay, St. Martin have found a solution for it, and this is the solution. So if we can get that, and that is also related to such, they can see also that we're not only talking about problems, but but we are resolving our own problems as well. Thank you, Mr.
Chairman, I just want to dovetail on the comments made by MP Leona Marlin. And with respect to the last comment by the MP, I do agree that and support that the issue regarding dealing with persons who could not obtain or lost the Dutch nationality because of what could be considered administrative errors, that this matter indeed be tabled and clarified. From the very beginning, I noted that it was a matter that St. Martin needed to deal with because the problem had to do a lot with St. Martin, the records kept, etc., etc. So indeed, since we raised it as an issue in tripartite and IPCO, let us also establish in that setting that how we are dealing with it. So that's one part. With respect to the committee for so-called difficult cases, before we report anything in IPCO or tripartite, could we receive from the government of St. Martin, which I know has been looking at this issue, could we receive what exactly they are doing about this article and committee? Because there again, I think we need to establish what we're doing at home, so to speak, before we go table it in a bigger setting. And I know, and the former speaker also from her former position, just like I am speaking now, know that this matter has been on the table. We have received responses from the government. So I would like to know, to add to the question, what is government's position on the establishment of that committee? I know in the past we were even told that, albeit not formal, there was such a committee in place, but I want it stated, and I would like the response from government before supporting any type of motion within Parliament so that we don't have to sort of backtrack. I just wanted to add those two comments, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you.
That bucket has superpowers. Powers? It makes people suddenly appear. Really?
You appeared.
It makes people suddenly appear.
At the right time.
Festive feast from KFC. The taste that brings everyone together. So good.
Hey, Bob, you're on family vacation. Oh, but your daughter's got the measles. But don't worry about it. With your Be Sure travel insurance, children under 12 are covered for free.
Are you be sure? Be sure.
Yeah, for free. Bob, I can understand why you're parking so carefully. Of course, when you can get 80% discount on your Be Sure car insurance. But that's overdoing it, Bob.
Are you be sure? Be sure.
Yeah.
GEBE has been faithfully serving the communities of St. Martin, powering your home and our economy. Come rain or shine, our qualified team of professionals are working hard 24 hours a day to provide you and your family with safe, reliable electricity and water. We use the latest technologies and test our products daily to maintain the highest international standards. Our friendly staff is always there to assist you, whether in person, over the phone, or online. We are committed to constantly improving our products and services, making them more efficient, effective, and environmentally friendly to serve you better today and our next generation of clients tomorrow. GEBE, powering a brighter future.
Our friend Megawati is here with tips to save you energy. 1. Turn your airco temperature up. 2. Use a ceiling fan instead. 3. Buy energy-saving products. Save some green with NVGEBE.
Anybody bingo? Nobody bingo.
Need a loan that's quick and easy. Island Finance. Up to 50,000, get us really easy. Island Finance. For education, a renovation. That's no problem. Yes, it's true.
this is for the 7th year now that our youth organization, the Alpha Leo Club of St. Martin, will be distributing baskets with food items to the community, you know, the less fortunate people in our community. As a matter of fact, they're starting this coming Saturday, September the, what is it? September the 28th, yes, this tomorrow. Yes, they will be starting to be at all the different supermarkets, asking the community as they go to shop to, you know, give items to the Leos so that they can put into these baskets, so that those less fortunate people can also have a beautiful Christmas. So I'm really making an appeal to each and every one out there. Give freely, no matter what it is, even if it's a small little item or whatever, you can make someone happy. Because as you can go out to shop, you know, and have a good Christmas and have lots to eat and lots to drink, let us think also on those that will not have that much to eat, but that we will be able to give back to them, you know, so that they too can say, well, look, Mommy, the Leos have really thought of us and they have brought to us all these different items, that we too can have a joyous Christmas. They will be out there Saturday the 28th, they will be there the 5th of December also, and during the week also, going up to the 12th, and then on the 13th of December, they will be distributing the baskets to the less fortunate people out there. So the more you give, the more baskets the Leos can give to the less fortunate community in St. Martin.
Possibilities that we can look at. I do not recommend the old Westphalian style of independence. Independence, the term, the concept has evolved. That concept was developed, as I said, in 1648. We are 400 years further, so we should look at more modern concepts that St. Martin can look at in their quest for independence, because I believe no matter how tiny we are, we should aspire and we should one day become independent. But as Stanley said, one of the main things is that you have to take your time, and that is one lesson we should learn from Suriname, and not to declare a date and then hastily prepare everything to meet that date. We should take our time, we should prepare, we should educate our people, we should strengthen our government. And recently I held my peace for a long time, but there was a lot of debate about our constitution. And if we do not understand and we cannot interpret and follow the rules that are set down in our constitution, then, as Stanley says, we have a lot more preparation to do. We have to take our time, we have to educate ourselves, we have to educate our people, we have to develop our culture, we have to prepare our people for independence. If I may go back before I yield the mic, the Westphalian concept of sovereignty, why I state that that has been thrown out of the window, is because if we look at countries such as the Netherlands itself, France, Germany, Italy, Greece, that are all independent countries, all of them are today subjected to decisions that are made in Brussels by the Economic Common Market. They are subjected to the International Monetary Fund that give them instructions what they can do with their budget, with their monetary policy. They are subjected to the International Court of Justice. So their Supreme Court is no longer the Supreme Court of that country. And also they are subjected to one other point I had in mind, but I lost it now. Yes, in Europe, we are aware that there's the Court of Justice in Brussels also, and our Supreme Court in Holland is subjected to that court where it pertains to human rights and other decisions. I have read several decisions from where the Dutch government was penalized to pay, in one case, I think it was 400,000 euro for not accepting a decision of the Human Rights Court that all children, whether you are born out of wedlock or you are recognized and not recognized, that you should be treated equally and be entitled to inherit from your parents. So this shows us that that supremacy of your national laws or your national constitution is no longer a criteria that we should be looking at and restrict us. Later in the discussion, I will refer to the 4 principles that are mentioned in the Montevideo Treaty that would determine whether you can be considered as a country, yes or no. And that, if St. Martin is a country, yes or no, that has been a lot in discussion lately, and hopefully I will get a chance to address that during the discussion.
So what's your idea of holiday happiness? Watching the kids open presents? Cooking in our new kitchen? The look on his face. Add to your holiday happiness with a loan from Scotiabank, and you could win a trip for 2 to Miami and other great prizes. Visit your Scotiabank branch today and talk to a representative about getting your loan. Contest ends January 15th. Conditions apply. Scotiabank. Discover what's possible.
Anybody bingo? Nobody bingo.
In my opinion, everything is perfect and you would be great for the job. But I see here that there's a 2-year gap in your resume. What did you do?
I was hospitalized for mental illness.
Oh, mental illness?
I've undergone treatment and I have a wonderful family that supports me.
Well, that is good news.
No, it's fine. I'm recovered.
We'll contact you, okay?
For a better understanding of mental health and what you can do to stop mental health stigma, please go to the Mental Health Foundation's website at www.mhf-sxm.com.
What do you say then, or how will the process be for instance, the 5 parties that are still hoping to be registered for the snap elections with the Electoral Council to be, to be on the ballot? What do you say to those people? The process has already started. You did say that you have to look at the validity of the decree, etc.
The law does not say that a party has to wait until government announces an election to A, form a party, and B, get registered. The law is there and allows anyone to register a political party anytime. But if there is an election, then you have to be registered in time for that election. So if anybody wanted to register a party 2 days after the 2014 election, they could have done so. The Electoral Council cannot tell you, no, you cannot register a party yet because no election is being held. Similarly, there are parties that have been registered, at least one that I know of, that was registered in 2014 and did not contest the election in 2014. So there may be parties who would rush now to get registered because they would not want to miss the boat, but in the long run may say, you know what, after all, we won't contest the election. So the parties, if they register now, cannot claim, let's say, any damages because we registered because we were told there's an election. It's your right to register anytime. The location for the sewage plant in Cold Bay. Now, one of the controversial decisions that was taken, and Parliament instructed the government to stay away from a decision-making there. It appears that the area in the back of the former theater, Sunset Theaters in Simpson Bay, they're next to Topper's restaurant on the main road. There's an area in the back there reserved now for years for parking for all the commercial activity that takes place there. And we have a lot of cars that every restaurant, everybody who has any activity, so you get a nice strip. We call it, the Simpson Bay Strip. But it's dangerous with cars parking right smack on the roadside, people coming in, people walking. So government has taken a decision years ago that parcel of land will not be given out, and it is reserved for a parking lot. It is zoned, not zoned, but it's in a, how you call it, a development plan. It is taken up in that plan as parking. So to use, let's say, a popular word, but not necessarily the legal jargon, it is zoned for parking. What did the government do? The outgoing minister rushed an agreement, and apparently the advice from the department is negative. Rush a decision to enter an agreement with Port-au-Plaisance. Port-au-Plaisance owns a parcel of land next to it and gave Port-au-Plaisance the area where the parking would come now, give Port-au-Plaisance that parcel of land. So gone is the parking for the businesses, not for the businesses, but for the people who go into that area. It is dangerous, to say the least. We have had several persons who were knocked down, not critically, thank God, in most of the cases, but it is dangerous with cars pulling in, pulling out, pulling in, pulling out. And if you want to really beautify the area and have like a nice promenade in that strip, like from Burger King right down to the bridge, and you take all the cars off the road and concentrate them in a parking garage, that's the intention, not only of this government, but previous governments as well, and go back to before 2010 even. Now, to give it away to Port-au-Plaisance and so-called in exchange for a parcel of land over in that area for the realization of a sewage plant, and I can tell you the meeting I'm going to have now is about a possible location alternative to that in the same area where government is looking in a joint project with the French side, we would then have a joint sewage plant. What are the benefits? That the need for sewage plant for the Marigot, St. James area would be addressed, but also the need for the sewage plant for the over the hill area would also be addressed. And because it's a joint project between the French and the Dutch side, north and south, we can qualify, let's say, as well for EU funding. So in that perspective, I'm having a meeting now that's supposed to have started 4 minutes ago, and I hope they're still there. But it is also one of the critical issues or decisions that we are looking at and looking to reverse, because it is not done correctly. It is done actually illegally. Yes, the minister has the right to do so, but land that is actually zoned for the parking, so government itself, we issued a planning permit. That is what the terminology was getting at. There is a planning permit, and a planning permit is a public document because it has to go on public review. The public gets an opportunity to comment or not, and then it is established as law. Government says this is how this area would be developed. And as someone who has, let's say, a vested interest in the area, they are happy to know a parking garage is coming there, and then without any consultation and without amending the planning permit, government decides we are going to give it away to Port-au-Plaisance.